I am a route setter, an intern route setter to be more specific, so I haven't been doing it for a super long time. About 6 months now. When I first started climbing, I didn't really think about the climbs. I didn't think about who were behind the climbs that I was climbing, but there's so much that goes into it. So because I'm an intern, I'm doing it roughly once a week while some of the other route setters have earlier hours. They typically start earlier in the morning when the gym is empty, so they're not bothering the regular members who come in to climb. So when you're climbing on the wall, you're climbing on the holds, somebody put that there in a very specific way to create maybe different moves or to incorporate different things that you can climb, make it interesting. And those climbs are constantly being changed so that it's not repetitive. That can kind of vary, and that can also be up to the route setter if you want to set an easier climb or a harder climb, and usually you're setting multiple different climbs. There is, in the climbing world, a very specific grading scale. So for bouldering, the shorter walls, it's on the V scale. And then for top rope or sport climbing, which requires you have a harness and you're attached to a rope, that is on a 5.0 scale. For bouldering, because the walls are shorter, you're incorporating more moves, and they're usually more strenuous in a more dense of an area. It can vary. Sometimes one route setter is there for the day, sometimes it'll be multiple. Day, or like we call it a session. Anywhere from like 5 to 8 hours. It does also depend if you're working with another person, things can go by faster. So the color of the holds kind of just indicate one specific route you're supposed to climb, because you're not supposed to mix and match the color of the holds that you use when you're climbing. So yes, it's mainly just to show you which climb you're supposed to stick to, because that correlates with a specific grade. Well, we have members who come in all the time who are regulars, and they kind of maybe use this as their hobby or their form of working out, and they have a membership and they do know what they're doing. Competition climbing is a little bit different. Even setting for competition at climbing is different than setting for a commercial gym. So there's 3, they're called disciplines. There's sport climbing, the taller walls, but there's bouldering and there's speed climbing. It's very, very specific the way competitors are judged. And it's a solo sport, of course. Even if you're on a team with teammates, when it comes to the actual competition itself, only one person can get first place. But then overall, people's points can add up, and then a team can take home first place. When it comes time to actually deciding what to set, you come in here and you gather a bunch of different holds for what you want to put on the wall next. So this, when it's on the wall, it'd be a pinch, because obviously you're pinching it. You have, let's see, some other holds. This would be called a crimp, because you can't really get your whole hand in it, it's just your fingertips. And so you'll see that a lot too. Let's see what else you have. Probably be called sloper. It's like slopey. It's not the easiest to grab onto. There's probably a better example of a sloper though. This is a sloper. So yeah, not the easiest to grab onto. And then we have what's called a jug. You can really just wrap your whole hand around that. It's easy to grab onto. So for sport climbing, it's by hold, I believe. And not necessarily foothold, but handhold. So for sport climbing, we're talking about the same thing still. You also have only 6 minutes to climb the wall, and you get 1 chance. So if you fall, that's it, that was your go. Falling is like all limbs off. You will notice when someone falls, because sport climbing, it's not when the rope is at the top, it's when the rope actually starts at the bottom with you, and it's when, as you climb, there's these carabiners on the wall called clips or quick draws. You clip the rope through that carabiner, and they're spaced many feet apart, usually at least 5 feet apart. So when someone falls, they're falling 5 to 10 feet. It's very noticeable when they fall. So if they're hanging on with one hand, they're still on the wall. There were quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. And I think, of course, the amount of competitors there were in each stage became smaller and smaller. Until the finals, there were 8 climbers per gender. It is also women versus men, not combined. So for bouldering, you have either 3 or 4 minutes per boulder. If you fall, you can try again.